Welcome to part 2 of our Canadian road trip. In this episode, we visit the French-Canadian cities of Montreal and Quebec City. Our first challenge when catching the train from Ottawa to Montreal was getting through the station. Boarding a train here is similar to boarding a plane anywhere else. Our cases were weighed, and mine was actually found to be 2 inches too high, costing me an additional $28. We then formed a very long, orderly queue, showing our tickets as we passed through a gate, before finally being allowed outside to climb onto the train. I almost said plane. Now, we do a kind of travel vlog.
Right. Okay.
So
Tell us where we are.
we're on a train between Ottawa and Montreal in Canada, strangely.
I'm not videoing out the window. Beautiful.
Montreal is not the capital of Quebec, but is the largest city in that province. The city is centred on an island and takes its name from the three-peaked mountain that sits at its centre, Mount Royal, or in French, Montréal. Pip and I dumped our bags at the hotel and headed straight for the old city. In Old Montreal, on the corner of Notre Dame East and St. Jacques, stand two satirical statues. Together they are known as the English Pug and the French Poodle. French Poodle is held by a woman dressed in a Chanel-style suit, staring resolutely at the Bank of Montreal. On the other corner, a pug is held by a rather snooty-looking gentleman wearing a very traditional suit, clearly representing the English. He is staring at the Notre Dame Basilica and about as far away from the French woman as he possibly could. The key to these two statues, however, are the two dogs. Not only are they facing each other, but they are both straining to close the gap between them. The dogs represent the hope of reconciliation. Pip and I stopped for lunch, and this was a new one on me: smoked beef Benedict. Smoked meats are very popular in Montreal. I have to say, it was delicious. The old port, once dedicated to trade, is now largely an area of leisure and tourism, but we weren't complaining. Pip has a morbid fear of heights, so you can imagine how she felt when she was filming these children swinging through the air in this play park. And as for this person, I thought a selfie might take her mind off it. The St. Lawrence River is a vital waterway in North America. It connects the Great Lakes to the North Atlantic Ocean. It had always been used by indigenous people as a means of communicating and transporting goods. It is one of the main reasons that Quebec City and Montreal were developed where they are. After the War of 1812-1815, ownership and access to the St. Lawrence River and the St. Lawrence Seaway were vital negotiation points. Built between 1844 and 1847, this impressive neoclassical building is the Marché Bon Secours and is the biggest indoor market in Montreal. As the old saying goes, when in Rome, go to a pub called the Winston Churchill. In all seriousness, Winnie's Bar has a fantastic reputation, and we were urged to drink Keith's beer and sit on the terrace if we could. We secured a table on the balcony, and as the sun went down, this was our view. Leonard Cohen was born in nearby Westmount and always considered Montreal to be his spiritual home. In 2006, he told an interviewer, "I feel at home when I'm in Montreal, in a way that I don't feel anywhere else. I don't know what it is, but the feeling gets stronger as I get older." Leonard Cohen died on the 7th of November 2016, and this 22-story mural was painted in 2017 as a tribute. The mural, which covers more than 1,000 square meters, is based on a photograph of Cohen taken by his daughter, Lorca. It was created by a group of artists, the two most prominent being Elle Mack and Jean Pendon. It's one of the most stunning images that I've ever seen, and as the sun went down and the streetlights came on and it was illuminated from below, it just became even more magical. Royal Mount, or in French, Montréal, is 764 feet or 233 meters high. To climb its southern slope, you had two options: a fairly direct staircase or a more leisurely, windy path. Pip and I chose the staircase. The climb was hard work and we were pretty out of breath by the time we reached the top, but it was all so worth it. That evening, Pip's Apple Watch told the full story. The end of our stay in Montreal marked an important turning point in our trip. This was where we hired a car, and with Pip at the wheel, we headed off for Quebec City. The total journey was about 264 kilometres or 164 miles. As we approach Quebec City, we cross the St. Lawrence Seaway. This is arriving in Quebec City. It's the St. Lawrence Seaway. And that's one hell of a bridge. Our thirst quenched, we set off to explore Quebec's Old City. In the rest of Canada, all of the signs will have English and French. In Quebec, it's pretty much only French. It was a good job that Pip had been working on her Duolingo before we left. The Old City is really quaint and almost European in style. Do you remember the railway hotels that I mentioned when we were in Ottawa? Well, in Quebec City we probably got the finest example. The Chateau Frontenac was built by the Canadian Pacific Railway. It is considered to be the most photographed hotel in the world, and I can see why. Samuel de Champlain was a French explorer, navigator, cartographer, soldier, geographer, diplomat, and chronicler. He founded Quebec City and established New France as a permanent French colony in North America. It's not surprising that his statue dominates the waterfront. Having been shocked by the language of some of the locals, Pip and I sought out a place to eat. We stumbled across the cochon d'Orgne, or in English, the crazy pig, and we were lucky we did. The surroundings were amazing, the service was superb, the beer was delicious, and I had the third best pork dish I've ever had. And I've eaten in Denmark many times. And Pip had a fabulous seafood pie. As evening fell, the old city became even more magical. We always seem to be showing you pictures of food, but I have to say the next morning this was probably the best eggs Benedict I'd ever eaten. Fully refueled, we set off to find out more about Quebec City's historic past. Ask any Canadian schoolchild and they can tell you why the Plains of Abraham are so significant in Canadian history. In 1759, the British were very keen to end the 7-year or French and Indian War. Supported by the Royal Navy, on the 12th of September, overnight, 4,400 regular British soldiers, led by General James Wolfe, climbed the cliff up on to the Plains of Abraham. The battle that took place on the 13th of September not only ended the siege of Quebec, but ended the 7 Years' War and saw Britain as the dominant party in Canada from then on. General Wolfe, at the age of 32, was mortally wounded as the battle came to its end. The French general Louis-Joseph de Montcalm received a musket shot to his chest and died the next day. All of this land was once farmed by Mr. Abrahams, hence the name. In this video clip, we see two groups of school children reenacting the battle. During a battle in Corsica in the late 18th century, the British were very impressed by defensive towers built at a place called Montreal. The British copied the design and erected such towers all over the British Empire. After falling out with America, they were built on the St. Lawrence Seaway, including the Plains of Abraham. This video gives you a feel for the field of vision of this Montreal tower. And this artist's impression gives you a feel for the interior. In one small area of the Plains of Abraham, we found the Joan of Arc garden. The garden is dominated at its centre by a statue of Joan of Arc. And on the day we were there, it was subject to some amazing installations.
Quebec City is so beautiful and we've loved every minute of our time here. But our road trip continues and we must leave and head on to our next stop.
That afternoon we left Quebec City and headed for Rivière-du-Loup via the Montmorency Falls. Join us next time.